We're going to get a blast from the past. Are you ready to hear what George W. Bush has to say about his fuck up? W crawled out of his hole. Apparently not making paintings anymore. He thinks it's a shame we're pulling out of Afghanistan. Oh yeah, I knew you'd be into the Bush.
Insight on what we have just heard from former President George W. Bush about the U.S. exit from Afghanistan. Let's listen.
Sadly, I'm afraid Afghan women and girls are going to suffer unspeakable harm.
Is it a mistake?
Hey, sir! Afghan women and girls suffered unspeakable harm when the U.S. invaded. Maybe, just maybe, we shouldn't take foreign policy advice from George W. fucking Bush.
The withdrawal.
I think it is. Yeah, because I think the consequences are going to be unbelievably bad, and I'm sad. And Laura and I spend a lot of time.
The consequences of your actions are unbelievably bad. Yes.
I think about all the interpreters and people that helped not only U.S. troops but NATO troops, and they're just. It seems like they're just going to be left behind to be slaughtered by these very brutal people, and it breaks my heart.
All right, we know that his fears about Afghan women and he certainly isn't.
It breaks his heart. He broke the country. He's we are fixing the thing you fucked up 20 years ago. Not quite 20 years ago. We're a few months off. We're like 3 months, 4 months off. 20 years ago, exactly, you fucked up that country.
Significant voice in this is the person who.
Yes. We were having a discussion last night. My position when it comes to foreign policy is the United States should mind its own goddamn business. No matter what the question is, my position on foreign policy is the United States should mind its own goddamn business.
By the way, he's not alone. I've been speaking over the last couple of weeks to current military officials in the Pentagon and former folks who served in senior.
Of course he's not alone. I bet all his fucking buddies that have investments
fearful about the future of Afghanistan.
In arms companies, in defense contractors.
So George Bush is not.
And oil companies definitely think it's a bad idea to leave because they're making bukus of money off of it. Fuck them. Fuck their opinions.
Like the U.S. used to have there, about 5,000. The Pentagon set a floor of sort of 3,000 to 5,000 just to provide some counter-terror capability, but also to give the Afghan forces some confidence, right? I mean, that's the finger in the dam idea. You take the finger out of the dam breaks. The fear is that where you are now, the dam will break for the Taliban, and you can see them marching across the country. And I have to tell you about...
Sir, to expand on your analogy, you only put a finger in there if someone expressly tells you they want a finger in there. Otherwise, it's rape. The Afghanis never said they wanted our finger in their asshole. So getting upset that we're pulling our fingers out of their asshole now, 20 years later, is obscuring the point.
I've been to Afghanistan a couple dozen times, and every time I went to girls' schools because that was the number one thing Afghan people would talk about as a positive development post-U.S. invasion. Was the
fucking Gitmo.
Taliban brutally shut that down.
They've still got like 50, 60 people, I think, detainees. They might have it down to 40 or 30 now.
Who finally got a chance. I, like Bush, fear for them, right? Because at a minimum...
They're just like in limbo.
Far end, because we know what the Taliban is capable of, they'll attack these people.
Okay, that's a shame. That's a shame. It's not our goddamn problem. I mean, it is our problem to the extent that we're the ones that fucked up the country. We shouldn't just leave them high and dry, but we can't occupy their fucking country any longer. It's been 20 goddamn years. What are we gonna do? You want to make Afghanistan a state? I don't, what's your solution? Just go over there and push them around with our guns? Well, that hasn't worked. There are a lot of people that literally is their policy position. Bomb more. But those people are invested in companies that make bombs. So it's understandable that they want to bomb more. We shouldn't listen to those people. Fuck those people. The moonwalk is always diplomatic. You hit some people with a moonwalk, and you're like, you guys remember Jenna Ellis? Apparently, she is throwing a hissy fit, and she's leaving the Republican Party in one of the latest episodes of As the World Copes.
Backing Trump's unfounded claims of election fraud, while also expressing that
This is on Newsmax.
more cash, battling Democrats than challenging election.
I'm not high enough for this shit.
All right. Now, wait a second. He could have just been watching all the fake news that was saying, hey, this thing is over, this thing is over. It's time.
I don't remember what her position was. I think she was special advisor or something. I think she's a lawyer, and she was with Rudy Giuliani as they brought some of those fucking lawsuits.
Is that a possibility that he was duped like a lot of other people?
Well, he's the chief counsel for the RNC, so
Never high enough.
then he should resign just for being stupid. But no, he absolutely knew what was going on, and I put out those emails.
Wait a minute.
Battling Democrats than challenging.
So they're talking about this dude in the RNC. They're saying that like they're backing Trump's unfounded claims of election fraud, a true statement, while also expressing that the organization raised more cash battling Democrats than challenging election results. The dude at the RNC is saying you need to move on because this is a lost fucking cause.
Election.
So Jenna Ellis is responding.
All right. Now, wait a second. He could have just been.
She's on Trump's side.
That was saying, hey, this thing is over, this thing is over. It's time to give up. Is that a possibility that he was duped like a lot of other people?
Duped!
Well, he's the chief counsel for the RNC, so if he's duped, then he should resign just
He's the chief counsel for the RNC. He knows the claims are bullshit, that there was no fraud, Jenna.
for being stupid. But no, he absolutely knew what was going on, and I put out those emails tonight on
God damn.
You think we're stupid? You think we're fools?
Yes, Rudy.
on my show on Just the Truth. So those are now out in the public domain. They were apparently from his actual RNC account. And listen, Justin Reimer has every, he's entitled to his opinion, but what he's not entitled to is to not support Trump, but then the organization that he works for go out and say that they are supporting Trump when they're actively undermining Trump. That's the lie here. And then for the RNC spokesperson to say that this story was false just because Michael Wolff, of course he's not, really that credible. We all know that. I'm not endorsing, all of his projects or anything, but this particular
Okay, as I pointed out last night, this is the third book that Michael Wolff has written about Donald Trump since Donald Trump took office. Each time Donald Trump has attacked Michael Wolff as being a liar, and each time Donald Trump goes back and talks to Michael Wolff as if they're best fucking friends.
story was correct, this excerpt, and the RNC and Ronna McDaniel and Justin Reimer knew it, but the RNC spokesperson still denied it as false. That's the problem.
So, Jenna, why would you want to stay in the Republican Party? You doesn't sound like you have a home there, and I was just passed a note that you might have an announcement to make regarding your...
Dun, 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 dun.
Yes, well, I also announced today that I am leaving the Republican Party until the Republican Party comes back home to conservatives. I will stand up and champion truth, conservative principles, our Declaration of Independence as America's charter, and the U.S. Constitution, but I will not stand and abide by a party that says...
So she is leaving the Republican Party for those stated reasons, despite the fact that, General Mattis said that Trump was a threat to the Constitution, despite the fact that we all saw Trump attack the Constitution. These motherfuckers want to talk about this symbology. They don't actually believe in any of it. This bitch has never read the Constitution. I'm sorry for calling her a bitch if that's sexist or something. But fuck her, she's never read the Constitution.
Is that we have to support everything that comes under the banner of R, even though it's not conservative. For Ronna, for example, to tweet in affirmation of Pride Month, for this whole infrastructure bill, for what Mitch McConnell said.
I saw something that said Dippin' Dots was making a comeback. I didn't know they left.
Are not conserving our principles of liberty and justice for all. They're not conserving our Constitution. So I'm not going to stand by and support a party that doesn't support my values. And if every single...
Good. Well, first of all, I am for what she's doing. I am for the whole Trump effect. Like, I've been very worried about the 2022 election, but now all this is starting to metastasize. I honestly think the more Trump talks, the better it is for Democrats going into 2022. And that not only are Republicans going to face even nuttier challenges from their right that's going to sink all of them, or I mean at least some of them. Trump is a motivating factor for the Democrats because the more Trump is in the zeitgeist of the citizenry, the better Democratic candidates do. And that's because the neoliberal candidates actually don't have a platform to run on. So being anti-Trump is actually a motivating factor for their voters. I mean, otherwise, what are they going to do? Go up there and say they're Republican light, and that just doesn't sell.
Who's a true conservative demands of the Republican Party, you actually have to be conservative, otherwise we're not giving to you. The RNC is money dependent. It's dependent on donors and fundraising. The only way that they are able to get away with these lies and not actually representing us in Washington is because the people haven't stood up and said enough is enough. I am. I'm saying enough is enough.
And it's time for a change.
Jenna Ellis, wow. We appreciate your effort.
That motherfucker thinks he has a shot with her, doesn't he?
In your work. We'll check out Just the Truth on Real America's Voice Network, and you'll be back on Newsmax soon. All the best, and thanks a lot.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes.
She's got dead eyes. I kind of scared.